On the morning of January 31st, 2023, Officer Gonzalo Carrasco Jr., an officer for the city of Selma in the county of Fresno, California, woke up like any other day. His girlfriend, Carla Alvarez, also a fellow police officer, was due to give birth that month to their first child, a son by the name of Maximus. Nowadays, baby Max has to be talked to about his father in the past tense, see pictures, be told stories by other family members. But he's unable to talk to his father. His father's unable to hold him. Because that afternoon, January 31st, 2023, Officer Carrasco was patrolling the 2600 block of Pine Street when he was alerted to a subject on the property of a resident. The Fresno Bulldogs street gang can be traced back to the 1970s, but did not become an independent street gang until the 80s. Developed in the California prison system like so many of these elite, well-known, violent criminal street gangs are, California prison system develops the absolute best of the best when it comes to being a gang member, when it comes to developing the strength of a gang, and the Fresno Bulldogs are none other. They are an independent gang. They were originally aligned with Norteños until a prison war in the mid-'80s broke out, referred to in gang folklore as the Red Wave. Nowadays, the Fresno Bulldogs are aligned with nobody. They stand on their own 2 feet, 10 toes down. They are not aligned with Norteños. They are not aligned with Sureños. They hold their own and have amassed very strong numbers in the prison system and on the street. That's where a man by the name of Nathaniel Dixon, 24-year-old Nathaniel Dixon, comes into play.
A miles-long procession across Fresno County honors the first Selma police officer killed in the line of duty. Law enforcement and first responders unite in a show of respect, saluting the white hearse carrying the fallen hero to the coroner's office tonight. Family, friends, and colleagues devastated by the loss of the officer who was just 2 years into his career at the Selma Police Department.
We didn't just lose a police officer, we lost a great human being. And that's the unfortunate part. Because at the end of the day, he's one of our community members.
Tonight, we're learning more about what led up to the tragedy and the suspect's criminal past as condolences and support pour in for the fallen officer's loved ones and his law enforcement family.
New details released just minutes ago are giving us more insight into who the fallen Selma police officer was to his family, friends, and community.
His name has not yet been released tonight, but according to the Fresno County District Attorney's Office, the Selma officer was an expectant father, brother, and son of farm workers. DA Lisa Smitkamp says he was part of the Explorer program at the Reedley Police Department before joining the Selma Police Department.
The Fresno County Sheriff's Office is handling the investigation into the deadly shooting. They have a suspect in custody tonight, but we're just learning pieces of that 23-year-old's troubled past, including his early release from prison just months ago. We have live team coverage tonight, including the community joining together to mourn the officer. But first, we start with Action News reporter Kate Nemerich, who joins us live from the Selma Police Department with more about what led up to the senseless shooting. Kate?
Warren, according to the Fresno County Sheriff, the suspect in this shooting is 23 years old and an admitted gang member. We don't know his name tonight, but we do know he has a criminal background. According to the Fresno County DA, last March he was sentenced to more than 5 years in prison, but was released early in September.
Around 11:45 Tuesday morning, Selma Police Chief Rudy Alcaraz says a homeowner flagged down a Selma police officer on patrol near Pine Street and Mitchell Avenue, saying there was a man on her property.
As our officer exited his patrol vehicle and made contact with the suspect shot him several times and then fled the area.
Chief Alcaraz says officers and emergency responders tried to save the officer's life. The officer was taken to Community Regional Medical Center where he had surgery but later died. Several agencies, including the Fresno Sheriff's Office, which is now leading the investigation, joined in a search for the suspect.
The individual was located by one of our detectives in the area and was detained. At this point, we have located what we believe is a firearm that was used in the crime.
The suspect is now in the Fresno County Jail. Although law enforcement has not released his identity, they did share information about his criminal history.
There is a gang connection to this. He was wanted by probation. He had failed to appear for a probation appointment back on January 17th of 2023, and along with his priors for possession of a firearm, being a felon, and armed robbery.
Sheriff Zanoni says the suspect was out on probation. Zanoni says they are not releasing details on the shooting as they continue to interview witnesses in the area. At the request of the family, the officer's name has not yet been released, but we do know he's been with Selma Police Department for 2 years. Chief Alcaraz said he would be meeting with his department to offer support and a game plan for how they can continue to protect the community.
That scene on Mitchell Avenue was cleared around 9 this evening. The sheriff's office says they expect to release more information about the officer and the suspect tomorrow. Live in Selma, I'm Kate Nemrich, ABC 30 Action News.
Surveillance video capturing the suspect accused of shooting and killing Selma police officer Gonzalo Carrasco just moments before his arrest on Tuesday.
CBS 47's Brett Rodriguez joins us now live in studio with more. Brett.
Brian, Catherine, we don't know the alleged motive of the suspect, Nathaniel Dixon, but we have been able to piece together some of the suspect's movements after the shooting took place.
Selma 37, it's an officer down. Copy, officer down.
Surveillance video captures the gunshots fired Tuesday after detectives say Carrasco was shot and killed by 23-year-old Nathaniel Dixon at Pine Street near Mitchell and Selma.
Suspect ran southbound on Mitchell.
Moments after the shooting, Dixon could be seen on security footage heading west on Mill Street. From there, the suspect turned onto Sequoia and headed towards an empty lot just a couple hundred yards from Eric White Elementary School. Security footage from a home near the field then shows sheriff deputies arriving. The suspect can be seen walking backwards with his hands behind his head.
A sheriff's department deputy located the suspect and he was taken into custody.
The suspect, Nathaniel Dixon, will have his first appearance in court tomorrow. He is facing several charges, including first-degree murder. Live in the studio, Brett Rodriguez, CBS 47 Eyewitness News.
Turning now to another major story that we've been following, the shooting death of Selma police officer Gonzalo Carrasco.
The man charged with the murder, 23-year-old Nathaniel Dixon, made his first appearance in court today. It comes as the Fresno sheriff, district attorney, and the Selma police chief held a joint press conference.
CBS 47's Ben Morris joining us now live downtown Fresno with the story. Ben?
Yeah, we're live out here outside the Fresno County Jail where Nathaniel Dixon is currently being held without bail. New details emerging today on how exactly authorities say Dixon killed Officer Carrasco. At today's press conference, Selma Police Chief Rudy Alcaraz said Officer Gonzalo Carrasco wanted to be a cop since he was a child.
He became a police explorer with the city of Reedley, then came over to the city of Selma, was a volunteer in policing. Beyond that, he became a reserve police officer with the city of Selma, and then in 2021 he accomplished his dream of becoming a police officer with the Selma Police Department.
Chief Alcaraz says that dream was stolen.
I want to ensure that everyone knows that this young man came from a great family. His parents did everything right, he did everything right, and the biggest tragedy that someone that did nothing right in their life took that greatness from this world.
Today, suspect Nathaniel Dixon was in court for the first time. We aren't being allowed to show his face. He's charged with murder.
This murder qualifies as a special circumstances murder under the California Penal Code, and the penalty for such a crime is either life without the possibility of parole or the death penalty.
The Fresno County Sheriff today saying Dixon was carrying a ghost gun, a .223 caliber assault rifle used to kill the officer.
Was not legally purchased, was purchased in parts, having no serialized numbers, parts that he could order to his house, put together, go out into our community and commit these acts of violence.
Zanoni saying Dixon should never have had access to a gun.
That's what's wrong with our criminal justice system. Gang members, convicted felons, individuals who have no legal authority to possess firearms, having them out on our streets, able to hurt residents and individuals in our communities.
Today, Fresno County District Attorney Lisa Smitkamp, Sheriff Zanoni, and Chief Alcarez all saying the California penal system is flawed and was the reason Dixon was not behind bars.
You do nothing to them to try to stop them or deter them or redirect them or rehabilitate them or educate them. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to come out more empowered, and they're going to walk down the streets of Selma with a ghost gun, and they're going to kill people. They're going to kill cops. They're going to kill good human beings who've done everything.
If you'd like to donate to Officer Carrasco's family in the meantime, you can visit our website, yourcentralvalley.com, to find out more. Reporting live, Ben Morris, CBS 47.
Tonight we're learning new details about the extensive criminal history of the young man suspected of killing Officer Carrasco.
CBS 47's investigative reporter Madaris Babb continues our team coverage.
Court documents sharing the lengthy criminal past of 23-year-old Nathaniel Dixon of Selma. Documents state in 2019, Dixon was convicted of second-degree felony robbery. He stayed in the jail until July 2020 and then was released on probation. The Fresno County Sheriff's Office says a month after his release, Dixon was rearrested for carrying a loaded gun and possession of drugs. The Sheriff's Office says the drug charge qualified for $0 bail, meaning he only had to put up $10,000 on the other charge to walk out. On the 19th of August 2020, Dixon arrested again, this time for several felonies. The court documents showed Dixon was charged with 5 felonies in total and 1 misdemeanor. According to the complaint, those charges include possession of meth, being a felon with a firearm, and resisting a police officer. Dixon stayed in the jail until April 2022, almost 2 years. Then the sheriff's office says he was transferred to the state prison. Because of credits for time served in Assembly Bill 109, Dixon was released on probation. Legal analyst David Mugridge says AB 109 was passed because of prison overcrowding.
Where we have started releasing large numbers of inmates, and it'll continue to occur unless and until that legislation is reversed. And I know there's some ongoing discussions right now about maybe we've gone too far too fast, and they may decide to rescind the provisions of 109.
Once Dixon was released, he was put on probation. The sheriff's office says in November 2022, he was rearrested and spent 2 more weeks in the jail. He was released, and then on January 31st, 2023, he was rearrested, this time for murder and a number of other charges for the death of Selma police officer 24-year-old Gonzalo Carrasco Jr. Mugridge says this time some of the charges qualify for special circumstances, meaning the district attorney will likely ask for life in prison or the death penalty.
Even if the district attorney decides to go for the death penalty, we are now in a state where the governor of the state of California, Governor Newsom, in his wisdom, has decided, I don't care how many death verdicts you get, I'm not going to allow you to execute people.
Dixon is expected to be in court on Friday. Madaris Babb, CBS 47, Eyewitness News.
The Fresno County District Attorney's Office has filed charges against Nathaniel Michael Dixon of Selma for the murder of Selma police officer Gonzalo Carrasco Jr. It is alleged that on January 31st, 2023, shortly before noon, Officer Carrasco was patrolling the 2600 block of Pine Street when he was alerted to a subject on the property of a resident. He pulled over his patrol car and spoke with the subject, identified as Nathaniel Michael Dixon. Dixon proceeded to walk towards the resident's home when Officer Carrasco exited his vehicle to make contact. Dixon turned, fired several shots at Officer Carrasco, striking him multiple times. Dixon then ran from the scene. Officer Carrasco succumbed to his injuries after surgery at Community Regional Medical Center. Now, really quick, when I read that, you know, it says, the part I had to reread a couple times, and I'll be honest, re-record a couple times for this, was he pulls his car over, spoke with the subject, identified as Nathaniel Michael Dixon. Dixon then proceeds to walk towards the resident's home when Carrasco then gets out to make contact. So he identifies himself, so then I don't know if Officer Carrasco punches his name in. I don't know. I feel like if he had punched his name in, like in that clip, they show his violent criminal history. I feel like maybe he would have maybe approached with more caution. He did have a bulletproof vest on. I don't know. But within seconds, half a second, Nathaniel Dixon's turning around, letting off shots. And frankly, Officer Carrasco didn't have a chance. It said they didn't even think he had time to pull his weapon out. Authorities, a couple days later, described the killing of Officer Carrasco as essentially he was executed. Officer Gonzalo Carrasco was killed Tuesday while approaching a man, according to Fresno County Sheriff John Zanoni. Carrasco, a 23-year-old native of Reedley, had been an officer since May of 2021 and had a baby on the way. And it did say that. It said that he had dreamt of being a cop. Basically, he knew he wanted to be a cop from the very beginning. He was in the Explorers program, which is kind of what you do in high school, and was a reserve officer, and then ultimately became the real deal. He was a certified police officer in May of 2021. Had a baby on the way, Maximus, 1 month out. And this is where I don't like to take one side or the other. I think if you guys watch and listen to my videos, I've been through a lot myself. I've been on the other side of the law, so I know what it's like to have addiction issues, to have legal issues, to have court cases, to have to go to court every 90 days, to have things keep getting pushed out. You're getting mad at the whole system. You're trying to just get this crap over with. You can't move on in your life. They control I've been on probation. I've been on pretrial release. It sucks. So I get it. But when I hear he had a baby, when I hear he was just approaching a guy who wasn't supposed to be in the area, wasn't harassing, wasn't doing anything wrong, and he just got shot, had a girlfriend, had a baby a month out. This is where a lot of my sympathy for the suspect in this, and we're going to say alleged still, kind of goes out the window. So it says that Carrasco was driving, gets the call. He had turned his car around, and as he passed the man again, right? So he's driving through the area. He's alerted. A homeowner told the officer that Dixon did not belong on the property. And I hope I don't get in trouble saying this, but it's like, I don't know the exact area they were in, but I'm just going to keep it real. When you see Nathaniel Dixon, he's got the big bulldog on his face and the paw print and the growing out kind of rat tail, duh, he's not supposed to be there, right? It's almost like I didn't need you to tell me that. It's like, duh, this guy's not supposed to be there. He's going through people's front yards. It said Dixon was trying to go into that yard like he lived at the house. Once Carrasco got out of the vehicle, Dixon realized basically, quote, he got me, and the officer gets out of his cruiser, approaches Dixon, and shot multiple times with, this is interesting, he was shot with a .223 caliber ghost gun, and it's an illegally obtained gun that comes in parts before it's assembled. And that's kind of another point I want to talk about, because I read there's an ongoing beef, okay? You have Governor Gavin Newsom, very liberal. People view him as very light and lenient on convicted criminals, especially people with a record, people that prosecutors and police should either face very tough bail or release restrictions. And Gavin Newsom's done a lot to making bail and lighter sentencing a thing, all right? And you saw that with the district attorney of Fresno County, Lisa Smitkamp. There was kind of a verbal back and forth between her and Governor Newsom over Dixon's status on Assembly Bill 109 parole, which is commonly called AB 109 or prison realignment. Smitkamp had said that AB 109, which Gavin Newsom and Democrats in the legislature supported, again, which is just makes parole, which makes getting out, which makes bail. There's all these things. It's just legislation, guys. It's just, basically it's politics and it's BS. It's to make yourself look good in the light. If your state is majority liberal, which tends to, they don't believe in the death penalty. They don't believe in, lock them up, throw away the key stuff, right? Like you see in Texas. So Governor Gavin Newsom, who has ambitions and people say he wants to be president, he's going to make laws and steer things towards what the popular people majority wants. The flip side of that is he's going to piss off a lot of the people that are part of the workforce, the government, the state workforce, police officers, district attorneys. The people, whether you like police or not, are tasked with keeping us safe. And Because the thing is, if Officer Carrasco's not there and a citizen approached Nathaniel Carrasco, had that guy that called it in done that, he could have wound up dead. Now, I'll keep it real. Most people, if they see Nathaniel Dixon all tatted up, walking around, looking like he doesn't belong, a lot of people aren't going to approach him. They're just going to call the cops and let the police do their job, as they should. But, yeah. Newsom fired back at Smith Camp and said she failed to use her prosecution power to charge Dixon with more of his earlier crimes, which basically means you should have charged him with more stuff so he wouldn't have met my requirements to make this parole bill, this AB 109. Officer Carrasco was a 2016, God, he was young, was a 2016 graduate of Reedley High. His dream was to be a police officer. And this really upset the community. This was a homegrown guy, baby on the way. Anytime you see baby on the way, anytime you see girlfriend and baby on the news, man, they're going to book your ass. So Nathaniel Dixon, good luck. Sad story. Yeah, just pretty crazy, man. Life is short, guys. Life is so short. Enjoy it. Enjoy your families. Take care of your kids. Take care of your lives. One day at a time, guys. That's all I can tell you. One day at a time. Stay out of trouble. Fight to stay sober. Fight to keep a good quality of life. Fight to stay out of trouble. And because you just never know. Things are always changing. We're not promised tomorrow, that's for sure. So appreciate it. Until next time. Peace.